Welcome to the New Jersey Light Our Democracy Rally. I'm Kathy Abbott, co-president of the League of Women Voters of the Morris area. Light for Our Democracy events are being held nationwide tonight, organized by local groups like ours, the League of Women Voters of the Morris area, of the Greater Princeton area, of Livingston, and the New Jersey State League of Women Voters. Organizations partnering in this effort throughout our country include Public Citizen, Black Voters Matter, Common Cause, and many others. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan grassroots civic organization that encourages informed and active participation in government, works to increase understanding of major public policy issues, and influences public policy through education and advocacy. We never back a particular political party or candidate. Membership in the League is open to all people over 16 years of age. We are here tonight during the President's address to the joint session of Congress to show that democracy is the power of the people. It begins with us, our voices, and our votes. Tonight, you will hear from leaders of New Jersey pro-democracy organizations. We will also hold a minute of silence when the President's address begins at 9 p.m. We'll then continue our program until about 9:30. Then you are invited to watch the live stream of the in-person rally in Washington, D.C., which goes through 10 p.m. Throughout the rally, please post on social media with hashtag Light for Democracy. The 4 is a numerical 4. Light numerical 4 democracy is the hashtag, and please post your pictures and video. We start now with a reading of the preamble of the U.S. Constitution. The preamble describes the purpose and the underlying principles of our federal government.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union,
establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility,
provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare,
and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity.
Do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
Thank you very much. And now I would like to introduce our MC for this evening, Laura Zurfluh, member of the League of Women Voters of the Greater Princeton area. Laura?
Thank you. And I'd like to introduce Makari Vargas. Makari is an associate counsel with the Democracy and Justice Program at the New Jersey Institute of Social Justice. Before joining the Institute, Makari was a Deputy Attorney General in New Jersey's 2020 AG Honors Program, where she helped investigate civil rights and workplace violations and took action to address them.
Good evening, everyone. As we all know, we're living in a moment where democracy is being tested across the country. We're seeing efforts to make it harder for people to vote, to weaken participation, and to shut people out of the process. But it's when the attacks on our democracy are the fiercest that it's more important than ever that we don't retreat, and we won't. And we know the people on this call won't either. We will double down. We're ready. Because democracy is not just a system, it's about power. And that power belongs to the people. The words, we the people, are not just an idea. They're a reminder that this country is shaped by the people who show up, speak out, and take action. The right to vote is at the core of that power. And it's not an accident that historically the people who have had to fight the hardest for that right, Black communities, Indigenous communities, immigrants, and young people, are still the ones facing the most barriers today. That's not by mistake, it's by design. And that's exactly why we refuse to let up. As we face unprecedented rollbacks at the federal level, we know that power lies in the states. It lies in cities, it lies in communities, it lies with us. That's why at the Institute, we build power from the ground up, because that's where real change happens. That means organizing, that means educating, that means fighting for policies that expand access to the ballot, not restrict it. It means making sure that when young people step up, their voices are heard. Because let's be clear, democracy is not just about elections, it's about participation. And it's not just about this moment, it's about the long game. This fight isn't new, and it won't be won overnight. But we are here, we are in it, and we aren't going anywhere. So let's stay in this fight. Let's keep pushing. Let's make sure that when the next generation looks back, they'll know that we showed up, we did the work, and we defended democracy, not just when it was easy, but when it mattered most. Thank you.
Thank you, Makari. I'm going to move on to Purva Gopal. Purva is a senior at Livingston High School, and she is the co-president of the high school chapter of the League of Women Voters.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to meet you, and it's great to speak here today, and to share what the right to vote means to me. Thank you, everyone, for having me.
Thank you, Purva. And I'd like to move on to Liz Glynn. Liz is the Director of Organizing at New Jersey Citizen Action. Since 1982, New Jersey Citizen Action has worked to address long-standing social, economic, political, and racial inequalities by advocating for and empowering the working families of New Jersey. During that time, New Jersey Citizen Action has been at the forefront of key political victories for healthcare, financial justice, childcare, housing, education, worker protections, and more, and has expanded its free community empowerment services many times over to lift up working families and connect them to the resources that they need. Liz?
Great. Thanks, Laura. I'm so happy to be here tonight, and to join you all here in this important event to lift up democracy. And Laura, are we? Did you want me to also talk more now, or are we just
No,
doing?
yeah, you can talk
Just do-
now.
Talk now.
Absolutely.
Okay, great. So I know I've been asked to talk a little bit about the importance of collective action, which is, so important for us to make sure we're really seeing our power that we all have together when we work together, when we, join together in efforts and make our voices heard collectively. It is so powerful. And it's so important for us to remember that there are times, right, when we may struggle. Where we're feeling defeated, but we must make sure we lift up our voices, that we join together, and that we come together and take these actions together, and really make sure that we are using our power that we have, our voices together, what we have as people. It's so important to remember that everything that we do, from whether we're all making a phone call, even if you yourself are making a phone call, it may feel like you're doing one small thing, but the power is in everyone else also making those phone calls at the same time. The work that we do to have all those one-on-one interactions and talk to people about, registering voters or talking about the importance of voting, the work that we do to collectively have all these conversations and talk about things that we're concerned about. When we have those conversations, not only amongst ourselves, but we go out and have those conversations with other people, and even just having those us all collectively having all these conversations with our friends, our family, our neighbors, that has a lot of power. And then, of course, when we come together, and we may come together and protest or rally, and then you can see everyone, and really kind of, I don't know you, but when I get together with folks and we are protesting a rally, you can feel that energy. And so let's make sure we honor that, make sure that we don't forget to continue to use this power, even on the days that where we're feeling less powerful, right? When we're feeling more downtrodden, that it's important to make sure we remember that that we must continue to act. We must continue to act together, and that by working together, we can overcome many obstacles, many struggles, just as many people have done over many of the years, right? And I always make sure I remind myself of what the folks have been able to accomplish before us. So anyone when something feels insurmountable, that I remember that we have done big things, we have done hard things, and we do those things by coming together. So I'm so happy to be here tonight with you all. Thanks, Laura.
Thank you so much, Liz. So next we have Senator Andrew Zwicker. Senator Zwicker has represented the 16th District of New Jersey since 2016, first as an assemblyman and now as a state senator. He's also headed the Science Education Department of Princeton Plasma Physics Laboratory since 2003, focusing on creating innovative opportunities for students of all backgrounds to engage in scientific inquiry. He's sponsored many pro-democracy bills in the Assembly and Senate, including the current John R. Lewis Voter Empowerment Act. Senator Zwicker.
Thanks, Laura. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate a couple minutes of time. Couldn't agree more that we have to all stay together to state the obvious. You know, I like all of us, I've gone through every stage of grief and shock and anger and whatever else there might be, and of coming out the other side feeling empowered, I guess is the best I can phrase that. And I'm doing exactly what I did during the first time we had to go through this, which is looking at every single thing that we can do as a state. And I think this is the key, right? That whatever RFK Jr. may do when it comes to health, or the EPA going to get rid of environmental protection, the states still have rights to go above those. If they want to drop the floor, we can continue to go above that to protect New Jerseyans. And so, you know, I look at whether it is immigration or whether it is healthcare, whether it is environmental rights, whether it is voting rights, as Laura just mentioned. And in each of these, I simply go, what can I do as a member of the state legislature? And what this means is, as one of, you know, a handful of states in the country who have a Democratic governor, a Democratic lower house, and a Democratic upper house, we can do quite a bit. Again, we have to, whether it's the John Lewis Voting Rights Act that Laura talked about, whether it's environmental protection, whether it is abortion protection, whether it is healthcare protection, whether it's immigration protection, there's much we can do. We can't do everything, but there's much we can do. What that means is a couple things. We, of course, have to make sure that later this year, we work to elect a Democratic governor so that we keep the assembly in Democratic hands, which I think we can do. But we got to work hard on the governor, because we need that trifecta so that we can fight legislatively over the next 4 years. Obviously, next year there's a midterm election, and we need to ensure that we do our part to return the House to Democratic hands. And so in particular in New Jersey, that means the 7th Congressional District. And candidates are starting to make themselves known there to take on Tom Kean Jr. These are actionable things that we can do, and we can organize while we also push our congressional delegation to fight for us as best they can in Washington. But we need to return the House to Democratic control. That seems clear. That will at least shut down the legislative piece of the current administration. And then, like I said, wherever you live in New Jersey, I would urge you to reach out to your state representatives on these various things of healthcare and immigration and environmental and voting rights. This is where we can fight the good fight, and we need to organize. And as we've seen with the fall of the line, and thank you to everybody who is on this call who helped ensure that the line would fall, and the League of Women Voters, et cetera. But there is so much we can do. And so I am going to continue to, every time something's coming out of Washington, see what I can do legislatively, speak up, speak out, know that the folks from Indivisible and groups around the state have got my back, and I'm going to do my best to support everything that you are working on. But it is true, altogether is the only thing we can do right now. It feels exhausting, it feels bleak, but I will continue. I'm not giving up, and I would urge each of us, that's why we're here tonight, to not give up. So thank you, Laura. I appreciate a few minutes. And anyone who wants to reach out to me offline at any time to talk about any of these issues or things we can do, I'm always happy to talk about them and work to organize together.
Thank you, Senator Zwicker. Purva Gopal had a few more things to say. She, again, is the senior at Livingston High School and is the co-president of the high school chapter of the League of Women Voters.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to share a couple of thoughts I had on what the right to vote means to me. So a little bit about me, as Laura said, I've been involved with the League since I was a junior, and I first joined as a community leader, and now I'm the current co-president. I've helped plan events, including 2 voter registration drives, a Why Voting Matters educational module, and I've also attended and volunteered at many League events, some of my favorites being the campaign school at Yale and the MLK Day of Service. And I also assisted at the polls on election day as an election worker. I love the platform that the League has given me to engage in the political sphere and also promote civic engagement. As I come of age and approach this moment where I'm able to exercise my right to vote, I'm witnessing a troubling and alarming trend, an increasing restriction on access to voting rights. And one such barrier is the SAVE Act, a congressional bill that's designed to keep undocumented immigrants from voting. It's really just an attempt to propel conspiracy theories about non-citizen voting. In fact, it is already illegal for non-citizens to vote, and non-citizens are not voting. One of the bills which mandates that states are to establish a process for individuals registering to vote and either present a valid passport or a photo ID that matches their name is in theory, this might sound like an attempt to ensure accuracy in voting records, but in practice, it creates unnecessary hurdles that for countless individuals, and particularly for marginalized groups. This requirement forces people to provide additional documentation, which is a challenge for many to access. For married women, for example, who may have changed their last name, or for people of color who often face systematic issues around documentation and identity. As a South Asian immigrant from India and the first person in my family to go to university in the United States, I'm well aware that my role is equivalent to my voice. It is the passage through which I can advocate for policies that will help desegregate the political sphere. It is my chance to choose leaders and administrations that will truly fight for my future and the future of other minority groups. After attending these political events and assisting with the polls and learning about voting rights in my American history class, I am certain that the right to vote is the most powerful tool that we have to shape our future. It is a right that generations of Americans have fought and died for, from the suffragists to the civil rights movement. Voting is not just a privilege, it is a responsibility. When we vote, we honor those who came before us and protect the future for people who come after us. Let's reject any effort to suppress, dilute, or undermine our votes. Our voices matter, and our votes are our power. Thank you, everyone, for having me.
Thank you so much, Purva. Next up, we have Mo Kinberg. She is the Director of Democracy Organizing with the New Jersey Working Families Alliance. She has an extensive background in community and campaign organizing. having worked on campaigns from the ground up on topics ranging from transportation and education to environmental justice and protecting the right to protest and dissent. She has effectively brought stakeholder groups together to form strong coalitions that have collectively passed legislation and won policy changes at the city and state level.
Thank you, Laura. So good evening. First of all, I just wanted to say that there is no other place that I would rather be right now than with all of you this evening defending the promise of our democracy. My name is Mo Kinberg, and like Laura said, I'm the Director of Democracy Organizing with the New Jersey Working Families, a grassroots independent political organization fighting for a government that represents the needs and values of working families. And we coordinate the We the People statewide coalition of labor, advocacy, and grassroots groups dedicated to advancing an equitable and more inclusive democracy by engaging and empowering underrepresented communities and building sustainable power among all New Jerseyans. But before I was with the Working Families, like Laura said, I was a community organizer. And I worked on a number of campaigns around increasing access to public transportation and addressing historical inequities in our water system and our school facilities here in New Jersey. And creating access to good jobs and protecting the right to protest. And every single one of these campaigns was about racial and economic justice, because this was about changing the system of our government to create more equality. And what I realize now, though, is that these campaigns were also about democracy. And they were really about increasing access to government and bringing people into the policy-making process. Community organizing is democracy in action. When we organize, we bring people together across common interests for a common cause. And right now, we are under attack on every front, and everything that we have fought for is under attack by authoritarians who seek to divide us and gobble up all the resources for themselves. Democracy obviously sometimes seems abstract because we don't connect our participation in it to our daily lives, to access to housing and transportation. So we need to make these connections, and we need to make the point that democracy is about self-determination. It is about our ability to advocate for ourselves and our communities. We must take back our democracy at all levels by participating in it and by addressing the barriers to participation, like the county line, that yes, we are very, very happy, is nearly dead, and that for decades stifled democracy in New Jersey. But I will add that, that we're close, but there is, still more to be done. And that by using our voices and our votes and by building trust in communities through organizing that builds community power, we can advance racial and economic justice, and we can advance democracy right here in New Jersey. And democracy is a 365-year round activity. It is how we distribute the resources for the greatest benefit of all the people, rather than just for the wealthy few. And we do that during the budget process. It is democracy is tax justice. Democracy is passing laws that advance racial and economic justice. When we organize, mobilize, and vote, we can overcome any obstacle. Together, we can push back against the authoritarians and build a democracy that works for everyone. So when I say that we're coming together to defend democracy, I'm not talking about the status quo that creates barriers to participation. I'm talking of the promise of a multiracial, inclusive democracy that has been fought for with movements throughout history in this country, from suffrage to civil rights to sunrise. And the best way for the promise of democracy to expand right here in New Jersey is in our communities, in our counties, and at the state level. To demand that we, the people, have a voice in the decisions that impact us at all levels, and that our elected officials are accountable to all the people in our communities. To address the systemic racism that has been written into laws and codes and policies that produce inequality of access to everything. So I know it's hard to do a chant on a Zoom webinar, but I'm just going to propose it, and I'll know that you guys are saying it out loud in your homes. At rallies, we often chant, "When we fight, we win." So I just wanted to modify that tonight and add a new chant that we can all do together at some point in person. but when we organize, we win. So I'm going to say it again, and I'll just know you guys are repeating it back. When we organize,
we win.
thank you. When we organize,
We
We
win.
win.
thank you all.
Okay, thank you so much. I have to get back to my sheet and it's not coming. Okay, thank you so much, Mo. And I agree, when we organize, we do win. Reverend Charles Laughlin will be speaking next. He is the Executive Director of the Unitarian Universalist Faith Action New Jersey. He serves as Policy Director and coordinates Unitarian Universalist congregations, volunteers, and coalition partners in their New Jersey legislative advocacy for equitable and sustainable public policy. And Reverend will be bringing us into the 9 o'clock moment of silence too. So I hope you all are expecting that.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I am the Reverend Charles Laughlin. It is a pleasure to be with all of you tonight. You know, this is democracy at work. All of us coming together, that our voices can be heard, that we know that there is power in our togetherness. My organization, Unitarian Universalist Faith Action New Jersey, is a 501c3 organization, and our vision is for a just New Jersey that is free of systemic oppression and greed, that is full of engaged people committed to each other and to our communities and to the earth. We say that our mission is to educate, to advocate, and to mobilize for justice and equity issues within the state of New Jersey. And in particular, we focus in areas that include criminal justice reform, environmental justice, immigration justice, reproductive justice, and LGBTQ justice, all areas which we know are under attack. In just a moment, I'm going to invite you to take part together collectively in a moment of silence. We're going to share this moment together. We hope that this will be a time to connect deeply with those core values that drive our commitment to democracy. Values such as justice, equity, transformation, generosity, and pluralism, and all held together by love. Let us take this moment together to hold this silence, even as this silence holds us. My dear friends, may you find the courage to kindle that flame of justice within you. May you find the commitment to combine your inner light with the light of others, that together we might be a beacon to illuminate the way forward. May we together discover the audacity to dare once more for a democracy that promotes our collective liberation and our mutual flourishing. We have the power together. May it be so.
Thank you so much, Reverend. And I'll just remind you that during that moment, we were in community with thousands of people all over this country that were holding that same moment with candles, thinking about our democracy and what it means to them. Carmen Gondula is a finance and community development leader of the C Company Consulting with extensive experience in municipal budgeting, affordable housing, and economic empowerment. Tonight, she is proudly representing Lupe as a board member, advocating for underrepresented communities and fostering strategic partnerships that drive meaningful change. Thank you, Carmen.
Sure. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to talk about unity in our diversity, the strength of our shared story. And I'm hailing all the way from Jersey City, New Jersey, and I know we've got like over many people on the call. And Jersey City is home to the Statue of Liberty. And the Statue of Liberty reads, "Give me your tired, your poor, your hurtled masses, your yearning to breathe free." These are the words that are etched in the Statue of Liberty. They're a promise, not just words, of America. It is the idea of a place of what America should be. It is an idea of generations of immigrants, dreamers, strivers who believed in freedom, democracy, dignity, and opportunity. It is important for communities to come together to work for the greater good. As a member of Lupe, as a board member of Lupe, we strive every single day to bring communities together and to describe the impact that we are all facing within our democracy. I've seen firsthand how critical it is to ensure that Latinas and Latinx and all communities of color are included in the conversations, but at the tables where decisions are being made. Lupe looks to amplify those voices and not to be ignored. I stand here before you all today as a proud Puerto Rican Afro-Latina whose stories, like many others, and of migration, resilience, and struggle are of belonging. My people did not cross an ocean to come here. We were born American, yet we have fought for recognition, equality, and the rightfulness in the right place of our American story. It is the upbringing and the rooted story of our democracy and our communities rooted in the diversity of color. Whether you're Mexican, Indian, Asian descent, deeply rooted in different faiths, denominations, and who we worship and where we go. It is the unwavering sense of faith and hard work that we have to continue to strive for each other, not pinning one against the other. It is the idea and the voice of sacrifice and hope. It is unity, and let's be clear that unity isn't automatic. Diversity is not everyone's reality, but unity is a choice. It is a choice to see each other fully, to listen and to understand our differences, that we are not a threat, and that our democracy and we, the people, are our strength. It is the forces that drive us together, that telling your neighbor or telling a community member or striving for people is important in all of our shared stories. But it is the history of America that we see, that we all strive for. It is the best of us and where we stand together, where we embrace our shared humanity, and we recognize what our democracy is. It is the strongest when we've ever come together when we have a vision like tonight. Immigrants are descendants, immigrants are people, immigrants have been here for generations and will continue to shape the fabric of who we are. So today and on this call and with everyone here, I want to make sure that we embrace the America and the diversity that we have that's unshakable. I want to talk to you all about the America that we deserve, that we will not recede, we will not go back. We have power in our presence. And I hope you enjoyed this conversation on the Light for Democracy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carmen. And next we have Hetty Rosenstein. Hetty's been an activist and leader in New Jersey politics for over 40 years. She was the former state director of the Communications Workers of America, and she's a founding board member of New Jersey Citizen Action and the New Jersey Working Families Alliance. And she's the founder of the New Jersey Resistance. She's respected as one of the most strategic organizers in the state and in the movement for social, economic, racial, and worker justice. Thank you, Hetty.
Thank you, Laura, and thank you to everybody who's here tonight. And you're here because we are fighting. And so I'm going to talk about fighting and how we do it, how we work together, how we survive, something that we have probably none of us ever seen before. It's quite frightening, it is very frightening, and it is quite a threat. But we are going to survive it, and we are going to win, and we are going to hold on and fight to keep our democracy and cause it to win. And what I want to talk about tonight is that doesn't only happen because we want it. It doesn't only happen because we have hope for it. It doesn't even only happen because we fight. It happens if we look at these things and these struggles from a strategic point of view and consciously figure out, how are we going to do this? And that sounds kind of overwhelming, but it is the way we win. So how are we going to win under a circumstance that we're living in, when there are tremendous amounts of power, people with huge amounts of power, who want to dismantle democracy, who want to do something that we don't want, who are looking to hurt people? They are looking to cut and destroy government. They're looking to do every single thing that we don't believe in. So I want to just point out some things, because I think to have hope, it makes sense to have skill and ability about how we do things. So first of all, when we talk about things, when we talk to others and try to persuade them, we need to remember that people who don't agree with us are not stupid. They have their reasons. They're not reasons we respect. They may not be reasons that we agree with, but we need to understand that they're not stupid. So we can't only talk to ourselves. We have to talk to people that we don't agree with and that don't agree with us. And that means we talk about subjects and focus on subjects that are deeply felt and are broadly felt and that matter to people and can make genuine change. And if we seek out those things, we will find some spaces to talk with people who haven't up until now agreed with us, and we may be able to move them. If we only speak to ourselves and we only speak about the subjects that are important to us and are not broadly felt elsewhere, we aren't moving anywhere. The other thing I want to talk about tonight that I think is very, very important is that we have to consciously think to pit our strengths against their weaknesses. Pit our strengths against their weaknesses. Protect our weaknesses from their strengths. So what are our strengths here? Our strengths here are that we organize, we work together, we're unified, we act on behalf of others, on behalf of our community, on behalf of our society, and not on behalf of ourselves. And that is a huge strength, and that is exactly the weakness that those who would destroy our democracy, that's their weakness. The powers are looking out for themselves and for their group and not for others. And in fact, that is their weakness. So we keep that in mind. And each time we plan an event and each time we do something, we are thinking about, who are we talking to? How are we giving a message and relating to this in a way that is broadly felt and deeply felt, and that can make serious change for people? And we think through what is our strength here and how are we pitting it against a weakness? And I'm asking people to sort of dissect this in this way, and it may seem dispassionate, but it really is about doing it well, organizing it well. And then the last thing I just want to say is everyone needs to do something. Michelle Obama said it, do something. Everybody needs to do something, and you do it at the level that you can do it. It means if the only thing that you can do is send money to some group that's doing something, send more. If what you can do is to come out on a Saturday and you can't come out on Wednesday, come out on Saturday. If what you can do is volunteer for an organization that's organizing and building democracy, and that means making phone calls for them or filing for them or making copies, offer to do that. And by the way, if you want to contact me, I'll try to help in plugging you in any of those places. But at the bottom line is do something, do something. That's how you have hope. That's how you feel good. And that's why we win. The last thing I just want to say is call upon elected officials to come with you. If you're going to a picket line, if you're going to a rally, if you're going to a discussion, ask them to come. If they're elected, they need to show up. Ask them to come. And if they don't come, then call and ask, why weren't you here when we were protecting Medicaid? Whatever it happens to be. So those are the things that I would talk about tonight. It's about do something. It's about doing it well, which we do better than anybody, this movement. Doing it well, caring for each other at the same time, and keeping our eye in a strategic place, in some ways dispassionate, strategic, planning, and activating. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hetty. That was some great advice. And if we all do something, then boy, it would be powerful. And so I'd like to introduce Iman El-Bedoui. Iman is a graduate of Rutgers University, a mother of 6, and runs her family sheep farm in Cranbury, New Jersey. With a multicultural background, she has roots in Egypt, Bangladesh, and India, and speaks 4 languages. Iman serves in several interfaith and community outreach organizations, including the Islamic Network Group and Sisterhood of Salam Shalom. She has dedicated time to refugee resettlement and tackling food insecurity within the Trenton area. Iman was elected to local office as the first Muslim minority township committee member in Cranbury in 2022, served as mayor for 2024 as the first Muslim mayor in hijab in New Jersey, and currently continues to serve on the township committee. Welcome, Iman.
Thank you very much, Laura, and thank you to all the wonderful speakers. Maybe just to share a little bit from my perspective, while I understand that my image isn't necessarily the traditional one for an elected official, I've never felt more nervous in this forward-facing role than I do now. And I think this is, I don't think you have to be an elected official to feel this way. The America I joined in when I took allegiance, when I swore when I immigrated to this country, offered me equal opportunity, offered me a safe space. It offered me the right to object or criticize within social decorum. And I don't recognize where we are right now, like a lot of you. Within our township committee itself, within our township borders, we've had boards and commissions that have had to pivot because of various federal funds being frozen. Our library is having to stay extra vigilant to attacks within its programs and its reading material. And on the resident level, they're just those who are just vocal and hateful with their messages. But my focus has truly been on those who are more afraid right now, families protecting members who lead an alternative lifestyle, immigrants who came to this country escaping harm. We had a lecture at our library very recently for Black History Month, and they talked about how in 1850 here in New Jersey, there was a very vibrant sort of slave hunting community, very horrific to hear in 1850. And to fast forward to 2025 and see that there are people still being hunted, unfortunately, only this time it's immigrants. I work very extensively with the immigrant population here in New Jersey. And to think that people like the Afghan population that defended the rights of Americans in Afghanistan, that defended the military and the military interests in Afghanistan are being treated the way they are here. ICE agents showing up in front of their homes, whether they have records or not. It's been very hard as an elected official. The weight on my shoulders, on the shoulders of my other elected officials. It's been very heavy to realize that we have people that we're trying to take care of, but we ourselves may not be the best equipped. I'm reminded constantly by a saying in my faith, and it says, stand out firmly against injustice, even if it's against yourself. Stand out firmly against injustice, even if it's against yourself. And so looking around, it's been a job to reach out, to knock on people's doors and say, hey, will you help me? Will you help me do X? In those conversations, I've engaged our superintendent, our police chiefs, our library director, and and other leaders who are also of similar minds. It makes me happy. It lifts the weight a little bit more to know that these people are of similar minds, wanting to create and establish protections for those who need it the most. And I think that's where we all need to reside a little bit. The good news I have found really truly is that many of us are of similar minds. They're great, kind people out there, and they too are looking to help. And I think the speaker before me was very eloquent in establishing some of those areas that we can all sort of reach out to help and do something productive with how negative we may be feeling right now. Let's keep creating these opportunities to do something positive. I appreciate your time, my time with you all this evening. And, we're in this for the long haul. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Iman. Really appreciate that. And our final speaker tonight will be Jennifer Howard. Jennifer has been the president of the League of Women Voters of New Jersey since 2021. She is a member of her local league, the Greater Princeton Area League.
All
Jennifer?
right, thank you. Thank you so much, Laura. And, good evening, everyone. As I think of our path forward, I'm reminded of an interview with James Baldwin. The interviewer asks, "Are you still in despair about the world?" And Baldwin responds, "I have never been in despair about the world. I've been enraged by it. I don't think I'm in despair. I can't afford despair. I can't tell my nephew and niece. You can't tell the children there's no hope. There is room and usefulness for both our rage and our hope. In fact, when rage and hope holds hands, it spurs us towards action. But we cannot afford despair. By showing up tonight, you have already chosen hope. You have chosen community and action, and you have made it clear that you will not stand idly by as we witness the dismantling of our sacred democracy, as we face a constitutional crisis, and as we see the rise of authoritarianism. As you leave tonight, I encourage you to be a member of the League of Women Voters if you're not so already. Over the next couple of months, the League of Women Voters will escalate our actions nationally, in the state of New Jersey, and locally, and our need to demonstrate that the vast majority of this country believes that our democracy is worth preserving and defending. As a nonpartisan organization, the League has hope and faith that regardless of political party, individuals and communities will have the courage to voice our dismay at these attacks on our democracy. We will work together, we will organize, we will mobilize as we continuously defend democracy. Thanks so much for all the speakers, and thanks to all of you in our audience. I am incredibly proud to stand in solidarity with you all.
Thank you so much to all of our speakers tonight. I really appreciate your coming out. Democracy is important really to all of us and all of our attendees here. You can continue watching. There is a DC event rally going on, and that's being live streamed. We're going to put that live stream link in the chat if you'd like to watch that. I think it's in the chat right now, actually. Thank you all for coming. Get in touch with us if you want to join a league, if you want to work for democracy. We have those links in the chat to reach us. And I don't know, Debbie, if you wanted to say a few words before we end.
I just want to thank everybody for just joining us and just providing fabulous stories and advice. And I hope everybody does feel that we are a community of people who are here for the light, for our democracy, and will stand together to do what we can to preserve it and carry it forward. So like Laura said, there is a link to the DC rally. You can also, join other rallies across the country that are virtual and being live streamed. So thank you all for coming, and we'll carry on.
Thanks, all of you. I know this was really, really short notice, especially for our leagues and our local leagues. It just shows the resilience and the nimbleness of the league when we are committed and passionate about something, how we can get together and do something like this. So I do truly appreciate all the work that you've all have done, all of you who, basically in a week's notice, in a very busy time of the year. And I appreciate that. It's the beginning of Ramadan. So I know, we have some members today who will probably postpone breaking their fast, and so I do truly appreciate all the stuff that you guys have done in such a quick manner. Democracy will win. It definitely will. It may take a while, but it'll win. Thanks, Melissa, and thanks, Alyssa, also for
Yeah.
organizing and setting this up.
Yeah, the staff was just hugely supportive. Thank you to Jesse for, allowing us to make this all happen, to helping us. And I know because we were all so busy, how hard it was, but we really appreciate. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, all speakers.
I just want to say thank you too. Thank you, Laura. It was nice to meet you, Jennifer and Catherine and Debbie. It was really just a great opportunity, and I'm so happy that there was a space that was created this evening, because I know a lot of people, and I'm sure the 400 people who were on felt the same way, just needed to have a place to be.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you.